Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name is Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and tonight we have with us Chucky Danger. And we're going to get pretty dangerous with the paranormal stuff tonight. Yes and no, kind of, sort of. I don't know. It's a hodgepodge mixed bag of stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun, I'm sure. Real briefly, I want to share this photo with everyone. And this is my Gram. She passed away recently. That's why I wasn't on last week. So, she lived to be 99 years old. So that's my Grandma Rose. Say a little prayer for her if you'd be so kind, and let's get on with the show. You see his face down there? That is Chucky Danger. Chucky, welcome to the show, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. My condolences with your grandma.
Most appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah, she lived a great ripe old age there. She lived to a ripe old age, rather. So
99's pretty good.
99 is a good run, man, and she was
Yeah.
solid up until mentally and all that fun stuff. Her physical health waned in the end, but it wasn't terrible. She was able to get around. She had like a breathing issue, and that's ultimately what took her out. But yeah, 99, man. So let's before we get into all that, because I want to talk about the afterlife a little bit, but let's tell everyone about you. Where you come, what your background is. Are you a paranormal investigator? Are you just an enthusiast? Why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
I'm a little bit of a Sasquatch researcher.
Okay.
And I've had a good bit of experience in the paranormal. I've had severe haunting, a couple UFO encounters, and some close encounters with Sasquatch, even though I've never seen one actually. But
Okay, I've had one of those too. Yeah,
yeah,
good times.
a little bit.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just like getting bluff charged at night is never really a fun time.
I've heard about it. That wasn't my experience, but yeah, I've heard about those. That ain't cool. No, this huge bipedal thing just rub rub rub. Rub. Oh
Yeah.
man, it was. I had Ron Moorhead on some time ago, and
Wow.
he told us about something that happened to him that was close to a bluff charge incident where it was after the Sierra songs were recorded. They'd gone back up,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, yeah, something was constantly like like near missing us and trying to drive us out. And we held firm, but I mean, it's not like they attacked him or anything, but it was scary. He was
I imagine it would be.
yeah. He really just kind of said, not cool. Not cool. But he stuck with it, and he's still researching them. I mean, he still goes out in the field every once in a while.
I mean, he's incredibly intelligent too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Pardon my water there. So your chief. Okay, let's start with the haunted stuff. We were going to talk about the afterlife, but the haunted stuff kind of relates to the afterlife to a degree.
Yeah.
And so let's dive into your haunted experiences.
Sure. So this all started like when I was 14, 15. It was the summer of grade 9 going into grade 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a little bit of conflict with my parents in terms of me no longer going to church with them.
Okay.
So I had put my foot down because there was no one my age in the church. And so it was just a bunch of old people, and it wasn't really my scene.
Gotcha.
Our church was on Saturdays, and that conflicted with sleepovers at friends' houses. So
Sure.
yeah,
Is there a specific religion that does church on Saturdays?
this was the Worldwide Church of God.
Oh, okay. It's like a Unitarian kind of all faith thing.
Kind of, yeah. They've come up in a couple prominent stories, and there was a Exhibit A episode about them that was about a guy that tried to commit insurance fraud, and he ended up killing his neighbor by blowing up his garage.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the description of that episode, they called the Worldwide Church of God a cult. So
Okay.
that was quite an introduction for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were attending, did it feel like that? Was it kind of hyper demanding of their parishioners, or?
It didn't really seem like it, but
Okay,
I mean, it just seemed like church to me.
gotcha.
Uh, but also, if you're familiar with the J Rod incident with the aliens,
Sure.
um, some of the attending people that interviewed the living alien were from that denomination, which was I
Okay.
found really
Oh,
really
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
for
I think they
sure.
brought in
Wow. Did you
a demonologist and a priest, and they were from that denomination.
to talk to J Rod?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, the priest, I heard his interview, and he was saying that he wanted nothing to do with it. So he kind of sat out of the room, and he could just look at it through the glass kind of thing. But he didn't go in to have the telepathic communication with it.
Okay.
Anyways, that's a
Oh
bit of a
man, that's insane.
ghost.
That's awesome.
But so yeah, I
No,
hit the
okay. Let me ask you a little secondary question there. If you know the answer, answer it.
sure.
If not, case Rob, we'll move on. Did the priest and this other person describe the alien or J Rod?
He said in his words he just thought it was a demon.
Just outright a demon, despite his looks. I mean,
Yes.
this wasn't a possessed person who'd been altered. This was
No.
another entity that was
Looked like a gray alien.
looked like a gray alien. He just called it a demon. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They had it in human clothes in its own little cell, and it was behind glass. So
Okay.
yeah.
Good times.
Quite a famous incident in ufology.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is
Yeah.
actually. The funny thing is I didn't know a priest was involved until this moment. I knew the demonologist went in. But prior to that, I thought it was strictly just like some guy who had like some basic religious knowledge and just proposed some questions to this entity or
Yeah,
interviewed
apparently
this entity.
it
Now,
was all a
what was the yeah,
apparently it
go
was
ahead.
just a telepathic communication, like there wasn't actually words exchanged.
Right.
So he doesn't know what was discussed.
Okay.
Since he didn't
So,
participate, he kind
right.
of sat at the room and was like, "This is really freaky."
It would be really freaky. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to see it myself. Just to go. I mean, because you've seen stuff out there on the internet. It's like most of it's probably fake, but I mean, there's some stuff out there. You go, I don't know, that could be
like
real.
the Skinny Bob video.
The Skinny Bob video is interesting.
Yeah.
The thing that throws me about Skinny Bob, if it's the one I'm thinking of, is the voice modulation that's applied to it.
Mm,
Or
well,
because I don't think that little dude would have that deep of a voice. you know?
yeah, I think there was some video editing done to it to make the video look worse than it was,
Okay.
and to kind of throw people off the scent a little bit because it
Okay.
wasn't a original video. It was highly
Okay.
edited. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
they
get you.
kind of added screen shake and they added some uh, voice modulation and stuff like that. As far as I've heard with the analysis of that video.
Okay. That's intriguing. That's really intriguing. So, okay, let's get back to your ghost stuff. What happened when you were rebelling? You didn't want to go to church,
Hmm.
as we've all been. We've all done that. Those of
Yeah,
us
you
who were this sort, yeah, guilty.
all kind of hit that stage. So uh, this is the summer. Obviously, it's really hot out,
Mm.
and I was a bit of a night owl, and I was reading the Lord of the Rings series at the time.
Oh, excellent.
So I stayed up really late at night, and I'd be reading in bed, and I'd also be listening to Rammstein at the same time because it made a great soundtrack for Lord of the Rings, and you don't get distracted because it's not in English. So
Du hast mich. Yeah, all day long.
pretty much. Pretty
I
much.
dig it. Okay, go ahead.
So here I am in bed. This is between midnight and 3 a.m. because nothing ever happened after 3 a.m.
Hmm.
That was kind of like the cutoff date or time of day whenever this would happen.
Okay.
But the very first time I had any kind of interaction, I was just in bed. I had my lamp on behind me on the headboard. And so I'm reading, listening to Rammstein. And then all of a sudden, through my double doors to my bedroom, this woman just kind of slips through the door. And
Like between the slats of the door? Like that's the
no, like
space?
just phased through it.
Okay.
Yes, she
Okay.
just phased through it. And
Gotcha.
there's this blonde woman wearing a white Victoria dress with like the poofy shoulders and like the frilly doilies around the cuffs and around the collar.
Okay.
And it almost looked like a kind of like a blue pattern on the dress, but I couldn't really make out what it was.
Okay.
And she wasn't walking, she was floating. So her dress actually draped beneath her feet. Like
Okay.
it was a full body apparition. And it
Sure.
was like she was very much like a real person in the room.
Okay.
And she just kind of glided right across the room and then out the wall beside me.
Now, how
And
old's your house?
it's pretty new, actually.
Okay.
So
Was an old house knocked down and that was built over it?
no, so this was like a very undeveloped property, and this was a house that was built on there. One previous owner, no tragedies, and when we bought the house, we did a lot of land clearing, like trees and stuff, so we could build a chicken coop and have a big garden in the yard.
Okay.
So it was mostly forest. So
Gotcha.
this is a fairly undeveloped property. The only thing that was really old was right beside my bedroom. There's a dirt trail that runs up the side of the property that was the original
Hmm.
road for the horse and buggy carts that would go up and over from the town that I live in to the next town over. So
Oh, okay.
that would be the only old thing that was there.
Huh.
Mhm.
A simple trail. Now, when this happened, what floor were you on? Do you have a two-story house or a single story?
Single. So it was just me. I was actually
Okay.
in an addition. So my bedroom was an
Okay.
addition. Yeah. And I was just in complete amazement that this just happened. And growing up, my great grandma, she would actually tell me stories about her and her sister getting tucked in by this woman in white in the attic of their house. So
In
I
the
thought, hey,
attic?
yeah, they had a bedroom attic, and
Oh, okay.
her
I was gonna say, were they dragged up there and then tucked in, or okay,
no,
okay, the rooms
no,
were up
no,
there. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, yeah. So this woman would stand at the end of their beds and kind of tuck them in. She never said it was anything malicious, but it would still spook her and her sister. And so I grew up hearing these stories
Yeah,
from great grandma. And so my first thought when I saw
yeah.
this woman was, is this great grandma's ghost that she talked about that tucked her in? Maybe this is like a family thing.
Hmm.
And so I
Could be.
wasn't really scared at first. It was kind of more like, "Ooh, what just happened?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
after
So
that
go ahead.
initial bit of amazement, it just started to happen every night. And it was always kind of like the same time of night too. They would just come into the room, and not every time would I see uh, the full apparition, but you'd feel that feeling of being watched, and you'd know there was a
Right.
presence in the room. And what would happen is anytime I reached for the lamp, there would be this really strong blizzard wind that would blow in the room. So it got like
Really?
ice cold, and it was kind of aggressive. So like anytime you would reach
Wow.
for the light, it would just whoosh. So
Crazy. Oh, dude, that's nuts. That's crazy. I like
yeah.
it. Not for you, obviously, but
That was only the beginning. So I had a couple friends
okay.
over
Okay, keep
for
going.
sleep. I had friends over for sleepovers, and they got to experience this a little bit. And one friend,
Oh, really?
yeah, one friend, he was sleeping on the floor, and I was on the bed, and we were just talking, and we kind of felt that temperature drop in the room, and we knew something was like there. And when I reached for the lamp, it did that blizzard wind, and he got to experience that bit. Now, the other friend, when he came over and he was sleeping on the floor, we were up talking about girls or something like that. And the woman came in the room and she just like floated on in between both of us. And that was the last time he ever came over for a sleepover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want ghosts floating overhead, man. Yeah, man. I get it. Wow. That's. And how long did this kind of persist?
This went on for a couple months, and it gradually got worse
Months?
and worse.
Oh,
Months. Yeah. This went on for a couple months because I know it happened into the school year. So it would have ended
okay.
like September or October, something like that. And eventually it wasn't just like standing in the room or floating across the room or anything. She actually started to stand at the end of the bed. And then when I dived under the covers to like hide from it, you would actually feel like someone sitting on the end of the bed. You'd feel that depression in the mattress. And
Wow.
another time, she stood on the bed, and while my ankles are down at the end of the bed there, you could feel the feet press down on either side of your ankles so that your legs feel trapped. Like
Oh,
it,
crazy.
it was gross. Like, like nothing, uh, sinister like that happened, but uh, just the intimidation of like you can't go anywhere. And
Wow. It's not cool.
it got worse. It got worse. So
No, no. Okay, keep going.
uh, eventually I started to get really freaked out about this, and I like asked my mom, like, what can I do about this? And she's like, you need to claim your space. You need to tell this thing that it can't be there. It needs to leave. And so I tried something like that, and
Hmm.
it came to the side of the bed beside my head after I had tried to reach for the lamp. And I just kind of dove under
Okay.
the covers. And while I'm under the covers, you just
Yeah.
feel two fists pressed down on the mattress right beside my head. And you can feel
Oh,
that the
dude.
stare just going right through the blanket, staring a hole through you. That was
Wow.
just
Oh,
panic inducing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you braved it out though. You stayed in your room,
I mean, where else was I gonna
or
go?
did you?
I couldn't go. I
Living
couldn't
room?
go anywhere
I don't
else.
know.
I mean, the living room was right beside the
Yeah, especially
bedroom,
with them
so
pinning you down.
like literally
Okay,
the living room and my bedroom were like side by side. So
gotcha,
that wouldn't really
gotcha.
help.
Mhm.
And we had a full house
Okay.
because I got three younger brothers and they got all the other bedrooms,
Oh,
so there really was nowhere else to go.
okay,
And so I
gotcha.
asked my mom
God.
again, like this didn't work. It only made things worse. Like, what do I do? And she's like, okay, well, I know you're kind of not into the whole church thing right now, but you need to say like, in Jesus' name, I rebuke you.
Okay.
And so I I kept that in mind because at that point I was willing to try anything. And
Gotcha.
I'm in bed. I'm reading my book again, listening to Ramstein, and it was like the very first time that I saw her. She came into the room, she floated across, and then I told her, "Get out of my space, you're not allowed to be here." She went out the wall the other side, and I just kind of sat there, kind of really on edge, like, what just happened? Like, freaked out
Hmm.
because I don't know what's going to happen. And about a minute goes by, and then right below the window that's on that wall, I see this head poke through the wall. And it's the back of the head facing me. And it goes from being a blonde woman to this really uh, dark hair that's just draped down, and it looks very wet. And
Like The
as
Ring?
I'm kind of, um,
Okay, okay.
and as I'm looking at this head, I'm just like frozen in fear. And it starts twisting like an owl head until I can see the face. And
Okay.
the face was the scariest thing I've ever seen. And this it had this smile, and it was this Cheshire cat smile of really long
Too big.
needle,
Too big for the face.
too big for the face, and they were really long needle teeth. Just really thin and intermeshed,
Okay.
like just
Yeah.
disgusting.
Like a piranha almost.
Uh,
Or one of
worse,
those deep
worse.
sea fish.
Yes,
Those deep
something
sea
like
fish
that.
that are nothing but a jaw floating around. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And
Oh,
then like
dude.
there
Yeah.
was no
Oh,
other
man.
detail to the face really. Like when you looked at the face, it was like staring into the abyss. It was just blackness, except there was these two laser dot red eyes that were just like, it kind of reminded me of the album art for Disturbed, except the smile was
Okay.
different and the eyes weren't so big. They were just really small, red hot coals.
Huh.
And as it's sitting there staring at me, I kind of just do whatever little bravery I had and said, "In Jesus' name, I rebuke you." And the head just was staring at me and then just pulled through the wall. And that was the last that I
Oh,
saw it.
it worked.
It worked.
That's
But,
great. That's
but I mean,
that's great.
that's probably about the closest I've ever come to pissing my pants in fear.
I believe it, man. Oh man. That's insane. That's great. Not insane. I get it. I totally believe you. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's wild. That's similar to a story. What happened to me? Mine wasn't as scary. You probably heard the story, and now very briefly recount it. It's when I call her an airline stewardess because she was wearing this weird uniform, but also a blonde woman, and she flips on the light, walks into my living room, stands at the threshold of my door, and starts yelling at me, waggling her finger, hands on her hips. And she looked like she was from the like mid to late 60s. She had one of those bobbed haircuts, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I can
And
picture that.
yeah, yeah. And she's wearing this steward. They called them stewardesses back then. They didn't discern. They discerned. But she's got this vest on that's green and blue, split, right? Split color, and the skirt that's blue. And she has heels on, I think, white. And just she's screaming at me, but no sound is coming out of her mouth at all. And she is as clear as and as almost as solid. She was ever so slightly transparent, ever so slightly, because when she was moving, she got a little movement to her, and she was pa, 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 pa. I could see through her a little bit, and but otherwise she was as real as you and me right here. And then she did something similar that your ghost did. I did the same thing. I buried myself in the covers, and I chanced it one time, and I do this. I'm prone, mind you. Her
Yeah.
face, she has bent over, and she is right
Oh.
here, dude, right next to my face. Still going, bah, 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 and I get up, I scream my little head off. I'm like 3 or 4 or something like that. And I go through her, dude. And the
Oh no.
chill, cold, blizzardy chill, like you mentioned, was just
Yeah.
trailed off me. And it gives me
Ugh.
chills right now just thinking about it. And,
Yeah.
and I shoot through, I go down the hall, I get my mom, and she never showed up again, the ghost. But I tell my mom about it, and she says it was probably a dream or a nightmare. I said, no, I don't think so. But she calms me down, gets me to sleep. And before she finally turns in herself, she says, how'd you turn on the light? I said, I didn't turn on the light. The lady turned on the light. And back then, the building codes were different in America. Now they lowered the light switches so kids can get to them. But back
Yeah.
then, they were halfway up a door frame, and the 4-year-old can't get to it. At least I
Right.
couldn't. So, so there's no way I could have turned on that light, even for
Wow.
jumping. But yeah, but so yours is way more horrifying than mine.
Yeah, it got pretty
What happened
personal.
once? Uh,
Yeah, a couple
yeah,
months of it
it
dragging
makes
out
me
like
think
that.
that. Yeah, I mean, and she just this lady for the most part followed the same path until things accelerated. Is that right?
Mostly, yeah. Because like it wasn't a very big
Oh,
bedroom,
okay.
so uh, there was
Okay.
only so
Wow.
many places you could be.
That's interesting because my first thought was you're looking at a residual that was just sitting there, and maybe one of those horse and buggies you were talking about broke down at
Yeah,
one point somewhere in the past, and
you would think that. I don't think this was ever human. I think it masqueraded
okay,
as human, but I don't think it was ever human.
yeah,
Um, when my
gotcha.
little brother took my bedroom after I moved away from home, he was playing on his computer in the bedroom, and he had this mirror that was made out of a bicycle tire. And as he's playing his video game, he looks in the mirror and he sees this woman in white standing behind him. And he said it happened on a couple of
Oh, dude,
occasions.
no!
So
Oh,
so
come on!
he saw her
Oh,
too.
come on! No,
Yeah.
that's so definitely wasn't you.
No,
But you
no,
had your
no.
friend there anyway.
Yeah, two friends.
And then your brother sees it. Wow. Two
Yeah.
friends. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
definitely the spookiest thing that's ever happened to me.
Great. Oh man. Yeah, that's two. I can't believe this is 2 months that this went on. Uh, that I mean, you hear about certain escalations like that in the field, but it's interesting that it kind of did it real slow, like it was super methodical. It seems like it got
Mm,
used to the idea of this thing being there, and then it escalated, and then it escalated more. And
yeah,
now,
yeah,
did
it
you
was
ever
kind of
hear
a
this thing say anything?
no, no. So,
Okay.
when it comes to gifts with the paranormal, I can kind of see ghosts sometimes, but I don't have I've never really had the ability to hear any verbalization from them.
Same.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I just see them. And I've seen ghosts at work. I've seen them on the way to work. Sometimes you just catch things out of the corner of your eye. Not all of them are
Mhm.
human shaped either. Like some of them can be like little critter sized things. And yeah, it's a weird gift to have.
Just yeah, to say the least. My gift isn't as pronounced as yours. It seems selective and dependent on the haunted environment or how haunted the environment is. There's a my team and I, as a lark more than anything, but at the same time, we still had an intention to like do a light investigation on a
Hmm.
tour of a local thing called the Winchester Mystery House. That's the
Oh,
title of it.
wow.
But Sarah Winchester lived there, and that's the Winchester
Hmm.
rifle fortune, those guys. And so we take a tour of the house. It's been reported to be haunted for a century or century and a half. And most ghost hunters on the who've done shows there have received nothing. But when we went, I saw one. It was crazy
Fun.
too because later, because I see the dude and he's one of the workmen. And he's got one of those flat caps, those driver's caps. He's got this
Okay.
handlebar mustache. He's got suspenders on, like work suspenders, and
Yeah.
like a long johns underneath that long john shirt, and he's sawing away at something. I can't see what he's working on. It's like it was just him embodied there, kind of he was like on a high stool, no
Yeah.
stool, but he's sitting. He's in that weird position.
Okay.
And he's
Yeah. Yeah.
sawing away, and he looks up and he goes, "One of those like that to me," and gets back to it, and then he fades away. And he had this
Wow.
purplish aura or hue to the whole thing.
Okay.
So we're
That's
touring the house, and I tell my
interesting.
team about it. Say, I saw something back there. Yeah. So we're touring the house. So I tell my team about it, and the tour guide takes us to the set of stairs that Sarah Winchester had modified because she had such heavy arthritis. She had to actually make the stairs from 6 inches to like 2 or 3 inches so she could
Oh,
trundle up these steps.
she couldn't even
Yeah.
lift her foot then.
She could barely lift her feet, but she did. They modified the steps for her. They added a landing, and on the wall of one of these inserted landings that they built up were a set of pictures of the different staff members. And she points out one guy at the far end of one picture. So this guy's been seen all over the place. However, on the other side of the picture is the guy I saw. That is not mentioned by the tour guide. And it's like, dude, I call my team over. I go, that's them. That's the guy. That's him. So really, no, that's
Wow.
cool. Yeah, didn't show up on
Super.
camera. Man, I'm so ticked about that because I was there with my cell phone, right? I was so ticked he
Yeah.
didn't show up. But
There's something really weird about some paranormal phenomena that even though you can see it, you can't get it on camera. It's the strangest
that's happened to
thing.
me a couple of times. Yeah.
I had that happen
That's
when I was coming back from vacation from Mexico, actually. And I'm not a very big traveler, so it was really exciting for me to have this flight and be able to see all the clouds from that perspective, because the last time I flew I was 6 years old. And
oh, gotcha.
yeah, so this was kind of a big deal for me. So I got a window seat and I'm sitting there staring out the window the whole time. And about kind of, I would guess, mid-flight, I'm looking out over the sea of clouds and I'm kind of taking photos of interesting things. And then I noticed that there's this metallic orb above the clouds. And as the plane is driving by, it's shifting from like an aluminum color to black. And then the sun would hit it and it would glint off towards the plane. And I'm like, holy crap, that's a UFO. So I get my camera and I'm
That's
taking
cool.
photos like crazy, just like hammering on the photos. And I didn't realize it at the time, but they were the live action photos. So when you hold on the photo, it will give you like a little couple second clip of the movement.
Gotcha.
And I'm trying to tell my ex-wife that, oh, there's a UFO, and she's like, no, there's not. You're just being crazy. And I'm
Wow.
I'm trying to keep myself together because no one wants to be that guy on the plane, right? And
Right.
we fly off a little bit more. This thing just stayed stationary above the clouds. It never moved. But, what's a metallic
Huh.
orb just sitting there doing nothing off at a distance? And then we go a little bit further down the flight and there's another one. And it's exactly the same thing. Like these must have been like 10 foot in diameter kind of thing. And
Okay.
again, the same property, like as you're flying by and the light changes as you move, it goes from that silvery aluminum color to black. and then it'll go back, and then like anytime the sun would hit that angle where it would glint off it, you'd get that shine right off the metal.
Yeah. Huh.
And again, I tried to take photos of that one too, and nothing showed up in the photos. Strangest thing. And then one day I put all those or a couple of those photos onto a digital picture frame, and this just cycles through photos that I've taken, and one day that photo comes up of the clouds, because like it was just a pretty picture anyways, just because of the sea of clouds. And then I noticed, like, there's the UFO. It's right there. It's in the background of the picture, so it like shows up pretty small, but one day it shows up and you can see it, and then the very next day you can't see it again. So what is that? There's something super strange about the phenomena. It's like gives you a little bit of a tease, but if it wants to be hidden, it can be.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. My guess is that if this thing was aware or had some sort of protective field it was generating to block such things,
could be.
It may work sometimes, but not always, because, pictures degrade as they're constantly shown and repeated and all that fun stuff, even on a loop. So something tells me your little digital frame eroded that protection, at least to one degree or another, and it may even have a code property to it. It'll regenerate the code. It's like, oh, we lost it on that pass. We got to reintegrate it. I've heard of UFOs projecting code before. So I think the Boogosphere's been known to project code, which is interesting.
Right. And this was right before the Boogosphere, because I think when I went to Mexico...
Oh, really? Was that recent?
Yeah, this was like 2023 that I went on this trip.
Okay.
In August. And this was like kind of right before the Boogosphere. We got that big flap of orbs showing up around the world, and when I saw that one that landed at the airport in the UK, I was like, that's what I saw. And there's like all these different videos.
Dude.
Yeah, there's all these different videos of these metallic orbs showing up around the world, and they're posting them on Reddit. And then I would look at them, and I'm like, that's exactly what I saw. How come they were allowed to film it and I wasn't? Like, it was the strangest thing.
Wow. That's incredible. So that's what you saw. Now we have a reference. That's amazing. Yeah. That's really cool.
Like, I know I saved one of the videos on my Reddit account of exactly what this thing looked like. Someone got like to the T what this thing looks like. But yeah, it's definitely before the Boogosphere. And then when that shows up, you're like, well, is that what I saw? Is like this what it looks like close up? But I've heard so many conflicting reports about the Boogosphere too. So, what's disinformation and what's truth. So
it's interesting. You hear these analyses, and the funny thing about the Boogosphere for me is the fact that it has very humanoid, or human, I should say human, circuitry patterns on the one side.
Yes, right on the top.
Okay, that right on top, and it's like, that's the part that gives me pause. It's like, I don't know, man. Is someone playing us, or because that's clearly a very human circuitry pattern? Because Bob Lazar and others who have seen this stuff, right. You and I were on the same path. They've all described similar. Their experiences say there is nothing like that. There is no circuitry. It's just there. And if it is there, it's on the microscopic spectrum where you can only see it. It looks like grain at first of on the sheet of metal. Like
Yes.
if you shave it or something like that, you get that striation. But in
Yeah.
actuality, if you zoom in on it with like an electron microscope, microscopic circuitry.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's very much an aluminum alloy that is stronger than our aerospace alloys that we use.
yeah,
So this is even better.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah,
alloys
yeah.
that
I
we
saw and
know
heard that
about.
too. That's another thing. The alloys we know about. I mean, it may be stronger, but I think we can pretty much map out what this thing is made out of from the samples we've
Hmm.
taken, which is doubly intriguing to me. And I've maintained for a little while now my theory is that at least with relation to experiences like we had at Rendlesham Forest, that's the one I go to a lot, where those two soldiers, one of those two soldiers that initially discovered that they called it a kite shaped craft, and it
Yep.
wasn't very big. It was like maybe 6 to 10 feet long, or 8 to 10 feet long, and one of them got teleported inside it. And he had an experience where these orbs, and this is all in hypno-regression, mind you, although these orbs are flying around him, and they speak to him, and they said, oh, relax, it's all good, we're from Earth 2, but we set this thing back to make sure the timeline is maintained. It's like,
Interesting.
okay.
The timekeepers.
So this could be another example. The timekeepers, yeah, yeah, yeah. Great way to
Did he
put it.
happen to
But
say how many orbs were floating around him?
I think he described anywhere from 5 to 7 orbs. My recollection
Okay, so
isn't
quite a bit of
exactly.
them. Because like what pops into my
Yeah.
mind immediately is the video of the recent congressional hearing where there's the Hellfire missile and it goes to strike the UFO,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then the 3 orbs just pop out of it. And then
Yeah.
the other parallel to that is the video of MH370 when you get those 3 orbs that start circling the plane. So is that
Oh,
some sort of
yeah, that's right.
is that a self-defense mechanism from these UFOs? Like, did that plane get too
Could
close
well
to a
be.
UFO and that's the self-defense mechanism?
Well, you know what it reminded me of when I saw that plane disappear with the orbs around it and everything? The way that flash afterward was very reminiscent of a movie called Millennium. And it was
Hmm.
basically the same idea. People from the future were going back into the past to ensure the timeline actually, they were trying to divert the timeline because the future was all messed up. So they were trying to make corrections here and there. But it was
Well, I
basically the
mean,
same idea. They capture people,
it's also the same
but those
plot
planes got
line.
returned.
It's also the same plot line as the show Lost, which is interesting.
Kind of,
So,
yeah.
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 So Lost, the plane goes through that storm and then all of a sudden it breaks in half and, the plane falls on this island and there's some survivors and timeline shenanigans
Yeah.
and temples dedicated
It
to
was
ancient
interesting.
gods
They were
and
stuck in a yeah. They blossomed into all kinds of different ideas and philosophies and stuff like that. It got a little convoluted and for my
yeah,
taste, but
sure.
I watched the ending. It was interesting, but yeah, their take on certain things was off to me. Like the
Hmm.
ending just made they just kind of took a crap all over a lot of the really cooler plot lines they had. They just kind of said nope, and it was all a limbo experiment. It's
You
like,
gotta
oh,
you gotta
okay.
hate it when shows do that.
Yeah,
I
man. I
mean,
mean, they're trying so hard. They know the cancellation's coming,
yeah.
so they try and
Like
wrap everything up.
let's do it quickly at low budget.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got the supernatural ending that disappointed everybody, including the actors, and
Yeah. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. I mean, it wasn't for what happened to them because it was COVID that interrupted that whole thing. That's why everyone was in a scramble. They couldn't get.
yeah.
They had a really cool ending. Did you hear the cool ending they really had? It was really awesome. But then the whole COVID thing happened and it shut everyone down. And when they get back together, they cannot make everything line up again. So they have to take this weird little serpentine kind of path to get to the ending that we had. And it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible.
No, it
But and
wasn't
then they
terrible,
one thing
but
that the one thing that that ending left open for me is the ability, and they kind of took advantage of it with the spinoff where it's that Winchester's parents, which
oh
wasn't
yeah.
fantastic, but they kind of explained that away. But they kind of left it open for something to come of that. It's like, okay, we can look at another reality because they had
Wow.
realities all, they were slipping in and out of realities all the time on that show toward the last couple of seasons. So
They're talking about doing a reboot where it's rated R. So
oh, they're
actually,
gonna put it on streaming.
they're gonna do it like actually horror style, where the monsters are actually scary. So that would be really interesting. Maybe
Oh,
they'll,
that would be interesting. I hope.
because like a lot of the actors have now signed over to The Boys, and so
Yeah,
they might take a
but still
page from
cryptic.
that. Yeah, they might take
Yeah.
a page from that director and go super gore or something like that, and just have that shock
It's just,
value.
it's just, and they do have that. I know it's weird. I'm actually desensitized to it to a degree now after watching The Boys. It's like, huh, okay,
Oh,
oh, okay, another person exploded. Oh well.
oh, every
When it first
episode is,
happened, you go,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Every
yeah,
episode is
yeah,
something worse than the last time.
that's true. Good times, man. But and that's Kripke too. So I mean, they're just. It wouldn't be hard for them to say that we're doing that. And we're just going to take this, and put it together. And Supernatural 2.0 comes out.
Oh,
Uh,
I'd be so happy.
good times.
Hmm.
That'd be really cool. That would be cool. What was I going to say? I wonder if they get new actors though. I wouldn't want them to
Uh,
get new actors.
no, I wouldn't want, especially for the core actors. That would be a mistake.
Yeah.
Uh, no,
Yeah.
I think definitely Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki and what's the guy's name that plays Castiel? I think they'd all come back.
Misha.
Yeah, Misha
Yeah.
Collins. Yeah.
Misha Collins. Yeah. That'd be fun. That would be fun. But they'd have to take that route and say, okay, so we saw what happened in Dimension 101. We're going to look at Dimension 102 where that didn't happen. That ending didn't
Right.
occur. And they just keep on trucking. It's like, all right. Actually,
How do you?
I'm working on a television show myself.
Oh, nice.
And I actually wrote an episode called Sam and Dean, and where they come into the show through one of those little reality ribbons, and they
Yeah.
interact with our guys, and then they have to go home at the end of the episode. But it was fun. It was fun, and that's the bent I took. It's like because I'm a fan of the show. Jack put everything back,
Yeah.
so it's like okay, so all the realities didn't get destroyed. He put everything back, so I could cherry pick like Dimension 103 or whatever it is, and go
Perfect.
from there.
Just like the
Yeah.
Scooby Doo episode.
Oh my god, that was great. That was one of my
All time
and this
favorite of any kind of show crossover. That was amazing.
they did a good job with it too. They did a really
Yeah.
good job with it, and I was surprised too. And I caught on before Dean did when I'm watching it for the first. I was like, "That's the first episode of Scooby Doo." That's the nerd I am. Oh my god, that's the first episode of Scooby Doo. Actually, funny
Yep.
thing about the first episode of Scooby Doo that they didn't touch on, which I kind of was a little disappointed in, that is the one and only episode where Fred or any of the characters swears. He says in the very first episode before they changed everything, like this is back in the 80s when they let it all fly. He says, "Damn it, Shaggy," when he's yelling at Shaggy. It's
That's
the only time
awesome.
he swore in the whole show. It was great. But I digress.
Yeah, they don't
Okay,
really
we are
let that
at.
fly.
No, they don't. They don't. They really don't, and they should let us have our swearing Fred. I personally think that's me though. So let's take. I wish I had a better segment to throw in here. Let's do a quick station ID. Roll. Yep, it'll happen in a second here once I hit the right button. We're gonna take like 15 seconds to do a quick station ID, and we'll be back right after this. After this is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest. Oh, okay, there we go. And we're back. For real. The the internet is lagging a little bit today.
Yeah, I can see that. Not always
Yeah.
cooperative, but I mean, we do have that solar eclipse today. So maybe that's playing.
Right. That is today.
Yeah,
What
maybe
time
it's
is that
playing
happening?
havoc. I actually don't know what time that was supposed to be happening. And I know it was visible from like Africa's perspective. So we won't exactly experience that. But
Okay.
energetically, like that might be playing havoc on the internet today.
Yeah, could be extra RF in the atmosphere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Chris Bledsoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on Friday, I got to work and I just go to take a picture of the sky because I saw this really cool alignment. There was the crescent moon, and there's Venus, and then there's a little star underneath it. And I come to find out that he took the same photo from his perspective in probably North Carolina. And uh, I took it because it caught my attention and I found it interesting. He took a picture of it because he thinks it's part of his prophecy that he got from quote unquote the lady. And after he posted that to social media, I'm like, oh, hey, like I took the same photo. And then he starts going hard in the paint and he's doing quotes from his book about when the red star Regulus meets the gaze of the Sphinx, there'll be a dawning of a new knowledge, and the lady will return and bring on a new age. And then he starts editing the photos, and he's got the lady standing on the crescent moon with the solar eclipse behind her. And I'm like, wow, like maybe this is actually something to pay attention to, because like when he started saying these prophecies, the US government took him very seriously. And he's been investigated by NASA and the CIA, and he's got all these government officials that talk to him specifically about this alignment. And
Okay, and is that alignment happening very soon?
when the red star Regulus meets the gaze of the Sphinx in Egypt, that should be around Easter 2026. So not very far off now.
Okay.
Yeah. And now that it's
No.
kind of in the sight line of the sky, you know, it's just a matter of time before it reaches its spot, right? So
For sure.
this could be
Wow.
prophecy in action.
That's intriguing. That's very intriguing. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that's supposed to happen in a couple of days, where a, and I forget who put this out there, but on the 23rd or the 22nd, which is tomorrow, 22nd or the 23rd, we're supposed to get this burst of energy from not only our sun, but from the galactic center, and
Really
it's going to pulse out, hit all the stars, and it'll enlighten some humans, not all of them. And the idea is that, you're supposed to just kind of tune out all the news and all the TV and just be there, and let it happen. And I don't know, we're supposed to all be enlightened in one way or another in the next couple
right.
of days. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
That's
Uh,
intriguing.
he also posted this morning a video about Three Eye Atlas, and it this is the one thing that is really confusing me, is this Three Eye Atlas. And Avi Loeb has come out saying that potentially this is a UFO and it's on a trajectory towards Earth, but the arrival date when it comes into our solar system keeps getting moved around. And the last I heard, it was already between Jupiter and Mars, and then it's set to arrive in Halloween, and then who knows when it's actually going to arrive. But
I heard
the vid-
November.
I heard next year
That's interesting.
originally.
Yeah, okay.
And so like they constantly change the date of when this thing arrives, and like they're saying, oh, it's behind the sun, and if that was a spacecraft, that is the perfect time for it to adjust its trajectory or its speed or anything, and we wouldn't be able to detect that. But
Okay.
this video today,
That's true. I mean,
yes, it is true. This video today says not only is Three Eye Atlas coming on a direct trajectory towards Earth, but so is 7 other comets. And
yeah, I saw something about that too.
This is the first I've ever heard of that. So, like, are we getting some like interdimensional fleet coming towards Earth, or what?
Well, the funny thing is, there was a guy. He was looking at some. What's the not Arecibo? He was looking at. What's the telescope in Hawaii called? I can't remember now. But apparently,
yeah, I can't remember the name of it either, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Anyway, apparently they took an interesting set of photos that show that a fleet is pretty much already here. It's like, and they're out about where you mentioned was like Jupiter area or something like that. And they're using, according to this guy, now I don't know if this stuff is even real. It looked relatively legit. And I'm in the film business. I know what things look like when they're all messed up and faked. Even AI, because the AI hasn't quite gotten there yet, but very close. But anyway, so it looked rather legit because I worked at NASA as well. I have a big resume, and I've seen satellite progressive photography, and this looked rather legit. The shadows were right, the dimensions were right. And the star patterns never shifted, which is kind of a dead giveaway. Sometimes they'll fade in and out if it's fake.
Yeah.
And so these things are marching along across the screen, and they don't look like your average UFOs. That was my only takeaway. That said, yeah. I mean, if 31 Atlas is an actual example of a ship, this does not look. They almost look like you remember Space Invaders?
Yeah.
Okay, the blocky little Space Invader guys that march around. So if you take one of those dudes and you kind of turn it 90 degrees, you kind of
Uh-huh.
get an idea what I'm talking about. They're that blocky looking, and
Interesting.
they have a little bit of dimension to them, but they're just and they're just marching across. And the idea is that was presented in this particular video, anyway, is that they're hitting Jupiter to not accelerate, but to slow down. They're getting caught in the gravity, and they're going to try and forcibly. It looks like they're going to try and forcibly pull out of the gravity early, so they don't slingshot because they're trying to slow down, and they're going to use Jupiter
Interesting.
to do it,
Using the gravity of
which
Jupiter kind of
is
like a brake.
yeah, using it like a brake, which is unique because that's an expenditure of energy, and I guess they got it if they're interstellar, even if this is true. Um, that's a brazen maneuver. I mean, because that's a lot of energy to fight the gravity of Jupiter as a brake. You're gonna let it grab you and slow you down, and then you break off early, and then you can go wherever you want in the solar system from there.
Yeah, that's
Kind of makes
interesting.
sense, but at the same time, you'd think an advanced species would be a little more energy conservative. I mean, if
Potentially.
they got the power source that can handle it,
But I mean, we also don't know for sure. So anything is possible.
indeed. And I don't know, anything's possible. Indeed. Yeah, if they have the power core to handle that kind of expenditure, okay, great.
But I mean, that's not out of the realm of
But
possibility that there is a fleet out there too, because like there was that army recruiter guy that was on a recent video. Like this must have been like a month or so ago. And he's doing this interview and he's talking about where all these soldiers are stationed. And he's like, yeah, we even got a report from a soldier on the moon and he's doing our best for our nation. And it's like, what do you mean we got a soldier on the moon? Like, what's that about? could you
yeah,
elaborate?
that's
Because
incredible. Yeah. Tell me more.
yeah,
Well, I've seen several different videos of people, amateur astronomers who have the telescopes and the camera rigged to it, and they've seen things come out of some of the craters, and they've also
hmm
seen like a small fleet just zooming across the surface that
or the
have,
red
and
the red
just the
blinking lights in
way
the craters.
the red blinking light was another one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
But I mean, these craft, and they look like something right out of Star Wars. Those really long Calamarian ships. That's what they kind of look like. And it was like a fleet of like four, maybe three or four of these things, and they had like what it seemed to be either, if those things are like battleships, for example, they had smaller escort vessels with them, which was
right.
crazy. It's like, oh, well, okay. And it was just right across the surface of the moon. It wasn't too terribly tight, and the resolution wasn't the best, as it always is. Uh,
Sure.
you always get the
Yeah.
shittiest resolution sometimes. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Strange, strange
So
times
okay,
to be
31,
living in.
dude. You said it. That's amazing. Yeah, for sure. So okay, 30i Atlas or 31 Atlas or whatever it's called. 30.
Three
Yeah,
eye.
30i Atlas. I got it on my 3i, excuse me.
Yeah.
Uh, it's now the funny thing about this is, okay, I just got the latest date. It says December 19th. Like you said, it
Interesting.
fluctuates all over the place.
Yeah, the last
So,
I heard was like it's already between Jupiter and Mars, and it was supposed to arrive at like
yeah.
Halloween or something like that.
Well, it
And
mentions Halloween here.
okay,
The close it says it will hit the zenith of the sun on its turnaround around Halloween, but it'll come
okay,
closest to the Earth around December 19th. So I now here's the other side of 3i Atlas. Jeremy Corbell has been warning us for at least 5 years that there is a false flag thing, and he points to this exactly. Says it is coming. This is a big false flag. Do not believe it.
Sure.
Thoughts?
I mean, that's possible, but like, what is disinformation? Who do you believe in this realm? Because, you know, when I see someone being propped up in front of government, I don't exactly trust them. Because,
I
you
get
know,
that. I get that
especially
entirely.
especially somebody that, you know, you're going to portray as, you know, I'm the bad boy reporter and I'm here to protect whistleblowers, and if you have any information, come to me. I'm the good guy. I'll help you disclose your information to Congress. Or is that just a fishing net to catch whistleblowers that are trying to legitimately whistleblow, right? So I don't.
I see that point completely. I totally see where you're coming from on that.
Mhm.
Dr. Greer's kind of another one who does that.
Same
Says, I
thing.
got
And
whistleblowers. Yeah.
I think he's got another element to him too. He is just another one of these paid agents that will, you know, be the safe space to go. That's not the government, and you can
Yeah.
whistleblow to him. And he's got his disclosure project. So, you know, trying to show this air of legitimacy to the average folk. And at the same time, he's doing these CE5 skywatching events. And
Yes. How
after
much are those?
the $5,000 a pop or something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
which
Woo-hoo-hoo.
just
What a
fucking
racket,
stupid.
man.
Well, yeah, so he's getting rich. He's getting rich off that. But at the same time, after they started talking about psionics, um, now
Yes.
you've got this psychic element to these things where you can call into the craft in the sky using your mind. And I think this is a way of filtering talent. So you go and do your CE5, and if someone displays prominent talent in psionics with these craft, I think that's a good way of plucking them out and putting them into black projects.
Could
So
well be. And that makes a lot of sense, actually.
not only are they making money from, you know, the ones that don't show talent, but then they're able to recruit good talent into it. So
Yeah.
that would be what I would make sense of that.
That I no, I don't find a flaw in your logic, and as far as that goes, I mean, it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility. The government themselves have done that before, doing
Oh, totally.
like we're doing a test. Oh yeah, we're doing a test, and we want to see if you're good enough. Here, we'll give you $150 to show up and stare at a goat for 5 minutes, and and see if you can
Well,
make
I
it pass
mean,
out. Um,
now we got the declassified documents about the remote viewing program, Project Stargate,
oh, I
and
know it's intense.
yeah, that's just one
Yeah,
element of it.
very
And
intense.
now you got the Monroe
Hmm.
Institute, and they're really trying to ramp up getting more folks through the door so they can all experience out of body, right? Maybe that's another recruitment process. Like, make it seem fun and exciting. But then when someone
Yeah,
displays real talent, do they just go into black ops,
yeah,
or are they just going to go back to their regular lives with this information?
yeah. I mean, that'd be hard to walk away from if you that is your goal to find said talented individuals, psionics or otherwise. That would be that's how I would run the operation. Or at the very least, if I'm going to give Dr. Greer or anyone else who does the whole whistleblower connection thing or the CE5 type stuff, because there's other programs out there besides CE5.
Yes.
That's what I do. Or if I were, I would either lead those events or I'd be a spy within those events, and I tag these dudes, this guy, that girl, this guy,
Yes.
you know. So
Yeah, you portray yourself as
so
just an average participant in the program, and you
right,
act like you're all excited to do this thing, and I don't know if I
right,
believe it, but I'm here to try, kind of thing. And then
right,
you're just
right,
marking
right, right.
down this guy here, this guy there.
Good times. Just as a piece of housekeeping, neither Chucky or I are suicidal at all. So if we end up, if we hit the nail too close to the head, we did not kill ourselves. Just putting that out there.
Nope.
Uh,
I
I'm
enjoy
half
life.
joking.
I enjoy
Life
breathing.
good. Life is. Yeah. Love the family. Love everyone else. Okay, so housekeeping done. Um, there. At least we got ourselves covered there. The
Yeah.
one of the other things that popped into my head when we were talking about CE5 and all that, and the psionics, is the fact that, and I keep coming back to this, and I think I'm onto something here, and I imagine that the level of disclosure that we want versus what we're actually getting and or going to get is going to
Oh,
be
vastly different.
maybe a couple of drops in the bucket. I mean, we're going to fall so short of our expectations. It's like we're not going to have the UFO on the White House lawn, or even on my front lawn, or yours for that matter. But
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't think that's going to happen in reality.
I've heard a lot of people really disappointed with the video quality of that Hellfire missile video. And yeah, it's just kind of like the
Yeah,
Tic Tac video or the Go Fast, where it's just a bright light on the screen because it's in infrared, and
let me
you
pause
don't
you
really
right there because let me pause. I'm sorry, because
go ahead.
I was Air Force, U.S. Air Force, and I'm familiar with those systems. I wasn't a pilot or anything, but I'm familiar enough with those systems that I can tell you that those images, uh, again, if real, if not manufactured, and it looks pretty real to me, um,
Hmm.
are seriously degraded and dumbed
Oh yeah,
down and de-resed big time because we can we can see a dime on the floor with one of those drones. I mean, and crystal clarity, it would take up the whole screen and you could see every single detail. So
yeah.
those are definitely
You'd see
de-resed
that
images.
microchip pattern on the boogosphere. So I agree. I agree. They've been washed out for the public, and
Yeah,
I mean, also don't want your enemies knowing exactly how well you can see things. So
that's
for
true.
national security, you're gonna wash it out, so you
Yeah, I
can't
get
see.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're not giving away your full optics, right? Um,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at with this Hellfire missile video is it's not the fact that it's like the same as the Tic Tac and the Go Fast, where you're not getting the really good detail, and it's not like you can see this thing in super clarity. What they are showing you is the capability of these craft. Um,
Yeah, I actually
it
talked
it
about this a couple of podcasts back. Yeah, go ahead.
it's incredibly good detail to learn about, because like a Hellfire missile can take out pretty well anything, and to have it deflected and continue flying away, like it's not even a delayed blast where the
Yeah,
shrapnel of it is getting into the craft, which I've heard is the only way to really take down these UFOs, because it kind of messes with whatever kind of force field thing they got going on, which is probably something to do with gravitics, kind of
yeah,
like a magnetic
that was my
propulsion,
assessment.
yeah, where
Yeah.
it'll just like push the missile away. And the
Yep.
important part is having those three orbs pop out of the ship and use it to steady the trajectory of the main craft. And, you know, that is news, because that is a new element to these things, like having these
Yeah.
orbs just pop out of nowhere.
For sure. My assessment of that, I did the assessment a couple of podcasts back. The My assessment was that the entire that entire video, and I took. Oops, let's see. Hold on, because you're gonna hear shit. Pardon my French. Real quick, I'm trying to limit this real quick. Just yeah, it's still being allowed. There we go. Trying to get the playback to show up on this thing here, but because I actually have that video, I wanted to share it with our audience.
Yeah,
But,
that's a good idea.
Let's see, where's the? Okay, well, let me just share the file. I'll share the screen. I'll let it play for a second. All right. So there's our thing. Let me put this in. There it is. So there it is. It's trucking along there. Yeehaw. And this guy's having a hard. This drone. This predator drone is having a hard time locking onto it. Now, one thing. It rotated. Did you see that? It rotated. And there's the Hellfire missile thing. Now, the Hellfire missile didn't explode. You mentioned that. The ordnance should have blown that thing out of the sky. And then that the debris that peels off it, and I wish I could make this thing do what I want. It's not cooperating right now. The thing that you mentioned, that the bits pop off. My assessment was that this was fragments from the missile, from the actual Hellfire itself, that got caught up in the well of the ship's field, generated field. Because you'll see after it comes in, I'm sorry, I had to watch the whole thing.
I'm not so sure that it is, because as the missile's flying off, it seems like it's able to fly no problem. If it was debris from the missile,
if you look at it, it's all janky. It'll hit in a second here.
Okay.
See, boy, then see how it goes, kind of arcs off weird, and then these things go with it. And you see these tumbling bits here at the end? Okay, that's what's his name. And that's a distant shot of the same thing. You'll notice it's still tumbling a little bit before it finally corrects. But my assessment was that, maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to admit if I am. Those are fragments from the missile. The reason I say that is we have Project Blue Book, and one of the guys, the captain that was assigned with Dr. Allen, went after one of these things in his plane. And what happened was he opened fire on it, and it did something similar. It kind of wobbled a little bit, then flew back, got behind him, and then he takes fire. And when he lands, barely, they find that the UFO had captured his bullets in its field and fired them back at him. It just took the frags, boom, lined it. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe that's what that was. That it captured the fragments in its field and was prepared to fire back.
That's an interesting.
That's thought. It's like that. Yeah. That was my thought processes. But that's not to say you're yeah. That's not to say that you're not right either. They could be stabilization orbs that fly out upon a foreign body impacting their shields, and it's like, okay,
I immediately think of something like very similar to a boogosphere, and you get 3 of these pop out of it. And again, we can reference the MH370 video where you got the 3 orbs going around the plane. So like maybe this is something similar. And oftentimes you see these things in threes and triangular patterns, and
that's very true. If you look carefully at that video, and if I can pull it up again, I will. When it does its thing, oh crap! I got to open it all up again. Bear with me while I do that. when it does its thing. Okay, I said do that. Aha, there we go. Let me share this again. You'll notice that it isn't just three. There's little tiny pieces floating around, kind of twisting and stuff. That's why I think it was shrapnel from the missile.
Right.
Because there's little teeny tiny smaller fragments that are just spinning with it as it drags all that stuff off. That's why I think it was a grab of these different fragmented pieces from the hellfire versus the object itself. Because the object didn't seem to lose any integrity. It seemed as it got wobbly and started doing this, but it eventually recovered and kept and trucked on.
And maybe that's an effect of changing the gravitational field around the ship. Maybe it's something to do
my
with.
guess is that's part of its propulsion / defense, so it probably functions as both.
Yes.
Again, that's a guess.
But I mean, that's all we can do at the point is guess.
yeah, exactly. But the way it reacted, I'm sorry, we have to sit through this guy's jibber jabber, so that's why we're on pause, or seemingly on pause. But the way it reacted and the little bits and pieces, and I'll see if I can pause it when this thing finally starts rolling. The bits and pieces that come with it, is this thing going? It's going, okay. There's a little teeny tiny. Here we go. So I'll try and do my best to pause it once. So it's there, and then it rotates. That's so cool. I think the rotation's the funnest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
The way it just completely reorients itself.
That's a detail that a lot of people would get lost on.
Yeah. So let me see if I can play
it
real quick.
Bits of debris.
You see the three bits, and now if you look here, there's right there. Just keep an eye on this area as it rolls on. You see those little bits floating around? They kind of flash a little bit here and here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see this thing tumbling off, trying to regain. I think they're missile fragments. That's what makes me think they're missile fragments.
Very well could be.
That's all. That's it. Very well could be. Okay.
Right.
A debate for later. When we know more, I guess.
Yeah. Well, just this morning, Lockheed Martin got onto social media and they released a teaser video. You see like this strange light in the background and it's kind of shifting around, and then they bring in the skunk logo from Skunkworks. And said that a reveal is coming soon, but what does that mean? Like, is this going to be a regular aircraft, or is this going to be something special?
You think they're going to finally release the TR-37 and say, guess what we got?
That's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
Tough to say. I wish I had that video.
Yeah. So, in the coming days, maybe we get something from Lockheed Martin.
Who knows? By the way, I have to say, my opinion is, again, I worked at NASA. We dealt with Lockheed Martin all the time. I do not believe the Tic Tac is a Lockheed Martin craft.
Sure.
At all.
That's only speculation, so.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it just seemed to crop up out of nowhere, and no one denied it, and so people thought it was, yeah, that's it, yeah. It's our own stuff. We're threatening our own ships, yeah, why not?
I think it's more likely that any craft that we've made ourselves with that kind of anti-gravitic technology is going to look more along the lines like a B-2 bomber that's more along the shape of a UFO, but still in that aircraft type. Right. Yeah. Well, I think that is going to be the man-made stuff, maybe just with some of this tech integrated into it.
I agree. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't be hard to pull off. And if you believe Greer, we've had the bulk of this technology to one degree or another since the 60s. We've had that even much earlier. Time. Oh, I'm sure we captured a lot. I don't think we knew what to do with it until about the 60s. Because we had reverse engineer computers and then computers.
If you follow Jesse
Go
Michaels
ahead.
on American Alchemy, he does a really good job of compiling all the data on reverse engineering programs and officials in the military that supposedly have captured craft and maybe have been involved in reverse engineering programs or uh, collaboration with other nations on this kind of stuff. And it goes back a long ways. Like this goes right back to around the time of the Manhattan Project. And
Okay.
there's even speculation like maybe Oppenheimer was involved in uh, helping create anti-gravitic technology and have it be
That wouldn't
some
surprise
kind
me
of
at all.
nuclear powered thing. And that is why
Yeah.
all of this UFO stuff, when it comes to secrecy, it's not classified as UFO material. All of this stuff is radioactive, and so it gets to be hidden under the umbrella of the Nuclear Secrecy Act. So all of it
Yeah.
is going under the Department of Energy. And you're never going to see it labeled as unidentified flying aircraft. It's going to be nuclear material,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
super
They
interesting.
do. They did and still do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you're
Yeah.
asking for Freedom of Information Act stuff and you're asking for these UFO things, you're never going to get it because it's not going to be what it's called.
Exactly. I need to see what unit under under the Energy Act, Nuclear Energy Act. I need to see this particular piece. You know, got to go with the serial number of what it is they identified it as. And I bet you
Mhm.
someone clever somewhere will figure that out if they haven't already. And they're probably just waiting. It's like I told you. They're going to say I told you. You know, but I will follow that guy and I'll see if maybe he even wants to come on the show. That'd
Oh,
be fun.
he
That'd be fun to
he's
have him
got
on.
he's got the best connections in ufology. He got to do some incredible interviews with uh, Harold Malgrim before he passed away, and a lot of people that
Okay.
are really deep into this. So he is the most intelligent person I've ever seen to compile this information. Uh, Not in the fact that like all this stuff is woo woo. He tries to keep it really into the military's reverse engineering and capturing programs. And he does entertain the idea of the psionic side of this stuff too, because consciousness studies are another fascinating aspect of this whole ufology bit.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
they're trying to tell you this stuff by undisclosing these programs, but the public in general, when they see this stuff, oh, that's just crazy. But they're telling you, no, this is real and it
It's
works.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. There's also the other side of it. I mean, I'm in the entertainment business, and we it for me it's a little it's embarrassing, but is the word I use loosely, but predictive programming where they
Mm,
say this is what we're working on. This is something from the deep future. It's complete science fiction, and then 30 years later we have cell phones. 30 years later we have lasers that we can hold in our hand. Computers
yeah.
the size of our smartphones could have launched and maintained the entire Apollo program. I I mean, it's just crazy stuff. And we were always talking about this micro technology that back in the 50s and 60s. Star Trek primarily is the one that kind of really put that up on Front Street. But and all this predictive programming was like computers that we talk to and interact with, which we're doing right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just amazing stuff.
I mean, the
It's just
AI
amazing
stuff
stuff.
and robotics are coming so far that like soon you're gonna
And
have those walking.
quickly too.
Yeah, they're gonna be walking around in society. And not only that, but they've made the liquid metal robot that is Terminator 2,
Yes.
right? So
Yes, I saw that. It's just
it's
nuts, man.
I mean,
I saw that.
not that it's a human of liquid metal, but it's in its infancy. They're making it work. It's
The
possible.
tech is there to bring it to life.
That's
Exactly. To
that's
make
the
it
scary part.
that's disturbing, isn't it?
It
Oh
very
man.
much is. Yeah. I mean, those
Hmm.
Boston Dynamics dogs are stuff of nightmares, anyways.
Oh, I know the headless dogs. Yeah, I hate those.
Ugh, yeah,
Do you know?
when
Yeah.
they put guns on those things, they're incredibly accurate and super fast. They can go over
Oh, I
any
know.
terrain, and
Yeah.
that's just like an unstoppable
Did,
army.
oh, did you see the robotic horse?
Yes, yeah, it's kind of like a built
The
like a
head.
quad.
It's a quad, walker, but you steer
Yeah,
the head and it
yep.
rides like a motorcycle.
And you can jump from
There was a
boulder to boulder.
demonstration. Yeah, yeah, I saw that commercial for it. But then they had a more practical version of it. I guess it was on display somewhere. They had this woman, I guess perhaps a spokesmodel. I don't know. She hopped on this thing, was riding around on a tarmac, so somewhere on a at a tech display, something or other, and
Yeah,
event, and it was insane. It was like, that's legit. Look at that thing go, and it had a little trot, and then it would gallop. When it
yeah,
gallops, it gets scary because it looks so biological. It's a fact, you know.
yep.
It's wow,
The tech these
just
days is incredible.
insane.
I saw a video this morning of a tech demonstration of flying cars in China, and these things were kind of built like a quadcopter. So like you got your car, it's got the wheels underneath, but on top there's this kind of drone quadcopter kind of build to it, so you can actually fly your car. And during the demonstration, even though they've got so much space in the sky for these two cars to be flying around, they ended up colliding and crashing onto a tarmac.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, kind of a
Oh no.
failed tech demonstration. But the
Yeah,
point
no
is that
kidding.
they're seriously trying to work on flying cars.
Yeah, I think there's it's either a Canadian or an American maker has something similar called like Osos or something like that. I mean, I'm probably
Mm,
butchering the name. But yeah, I keep seeing it on Instagram all the time. Look at if you want to buy one, here it is, $800,000. There's the Rocket Bike, which is
yes, yeah.
right at them. eight
That
hundred
thing's
thousand
insane.
dollars later, you can have a rocket bike.
I mean, I wouldn't want to run out of fuel above the forest.
Yeah, the flight time's nuts, but it's super short. And but wow,
The
wow.
one piece of
And
tech
then
when it
there's
comes to paranormal that I'm really excited about because I think it'll unlock so many more new discoveries is those
yeah,
contact lenses that let you see infrared light.
yes,
Um,
I want to pair those two. How much are those run?
oh man,
Probably a
that will
lot.
be that will be phenomenal because all these UFOs seem to hide in the infrared spectrum, whether it be long wave or short wave.
Yeah,
But if you're constantly being able to see in infrared, my friend Brent Thomas from the Paranormal Portal podcast,
okay.
he went to a cabin in the woods, just staying at his boss's house on a business trip, and
Hmm.
his boss just let him stay there instead of renting a hotel. And while he was there, there's a pair of infrared binoculars, and he had permission to use them. So he went out onto the deck at night just to go look at the red stars in the sky because you see four times as many stars as what you see with the naked eye because they're all in the
Right,
red light spectrum. So
right.
as he's looking around in the sky with these binoculars, he notices right above the tree line, just down the valley, is this UFO. And he takes down the binoculars and he can't see anything. And then he puts the binoculars back up and he can see it again. And
Okay.
you know, he's kind of in amazement that you can only see this thing in the infrared. So it was completely cloaked to normal vision. But then he got the idea, like, I'm the only living thing that's out in this valley. So if they're looking at, if I'm looking at it, they're probably looking at me. So he kind of just went back inside and tried to go to bed.
Smart
watch,
move.
watch the clock so you don't have any missing time.
Right, totally. Set a camera up in the corner, just let it roll.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, dude. Yeah, I'd love a pair of those things. And they can see thermal too, right?
Uh, Something like that. Yeah. And you can actually
Yeah,
see
it's
with
like
your
a
eyelids closed too. You can actually see the infrared better.
yeah. That
So
was yeah.
I know the military can utilize like infrared paint to like mark off when you're doing building checks. So if you cleared a room, you can like mark a door or something in infrared ink that you can only see using your goggles. And
Right.
something like that would be really handy to have because then you can see the mark without having to have your goggles up, right? And not only
Yeah.
that, but when you have your eyes shut, you can still see it. Or, in the world of
Yeah, that'd be cool.
espionage, that would be also incredible because now you can pass off messages with your eyes closed. You could pretend to be a blind man and
Right.
be, you could totally be seeing at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
But also
Yeah, that
like
was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool
when we're
thing.
doing ghost investigations, like what if some of this stuff will translate? Like, are we able to see different frequency beings in the infrared when we're doing that type of thing? And that's
Yeah.
kind of like my trajectory of thought process. Like, we're always looking in radio wave for ghosts, doing like the um, voice phenomenon, whatnot. But if we could make an audio
Yeah.
recorder that translates in different frequencies, like microwave or gamma, even, then we start getting the
Mm.
higher frequency entities instead of that lower frequency of the radio waves. Like,
That's a brilliant idea.
I don't think there is such a device, but if we could develop it, then we're, instead of looking just in one bandwidth, we can, start looking a little further. And that's kind of my whole thing with the ultraviolet studies that I do is we
Oh,
only
fun.
see, yeah, we only see a limited bit with our human vision spectrum. But what everything else in the planet sees is like the movie Avatar, where we get all these crazy, funky colors that display that all the animals are using to interact with each other and the plants and rocks and everything. And we're dumb to it. Like we don't see it. So
Yeah.
a perfect example of this is like a flying squirrel. Um, so they only come out at night, and to us they just seem like a gray brown little squirrel, but they're nocturnal. And this all started for me when I was studying Sasquatch and trying to understand eye shine and the eye glow and what the purpose behind that
Oh,
might
yeah.
be. So in order to understand them, I had to understand nocturnal critters. And because if they're utilizing ultraviolet to be able to see at nighttime, because that would be a level of light that is usable at night,
Yeah.
as well as the infrared. Uh, the other animals that are nocturnal ought to be able to do this too. And when you start looking at these critters in the ultraviolet, that little brown squirrel, when you put the ultraviolet on them, they go pink and they go orange and they go blue. And when they're flying from tree to
Yeah.
tree, they're like neo disco knights scooting along in the trees. And
I
it's
dig it.
it's just phenomenal. And
Yeah, it is. Uh,
so they use it
yeah.
to display and communicate with each other. but they can also see protein and sugar content in plants. And so animals will utilize this in order to get the most bang for their buck when they're browsing. So they're not wasting their energy eating plants that aren't mature enough to give them the energy that they need. So Sasquatch ought to do the same thing. So,
That makes
like,
sense.
grizzly bears and caribou do it in low nutritional areas. So, like, whenever you see the nature documentaries and a bear is eating from this berry bush, and then it goes over here and eats from this berry bush, and then it goes over here, instead of just plunking down his butt and eating all the berries off of one tree or bush, what he's seeing is the most bang for his buck. And so he can fatten up a lot quicker. And then the tundra caribou do the same thing. So when they're eating lichen, they're only really nutritional at a certain stage of development. So they're looking at these lichens, they're seeing the ones that are most nutritional, and then they're able to eat those as they're marching along through the tundra. So it's a really advantageous adaptation for nature to utilize the ultraviolet vision. So, if Sasquatch utilizes this, not only can he see those little critters displaying the ultraviolet that they use to communicate with each other, because like owls and insects do it too. Not every animal does, at least in the visual spectrums that we can observe. Every living thing on this planet actually emits ultraviolet light, and our bones actually kind of work like LED diodes that emit light from within us. And for humans, it comes off as like a reddy brown ultraviolet light that's in a very hard spectrum to observe. But everything can see it. And that's kind of why mosquitoes are drawn to you. It's not that they're picking up on your they're not picking up on your carbon dioxide that you're breathing out. They're actually just like honing in on your ultraviolet signature, because insects especially really utilize ultraviolet spectrum. That's why bug zappers use a black light.
That's right. So, exactly it.
Yeah, they're just drawn to it. Yeah,
that's great. No, good on you for that research. That's very in depth. That's incredible and accurate, by I might add too.
Well, before his passing,
something else that
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say one other thing that I like about the UV lights is in Arizona, New Mexico, a lot of areas where you have some desert and a lot of scorpions and even tarantulas. Wolf spiders too, for example. They show up under UV light like they glow. It's amazing.
So do daddy long legs and orb weavers do. I've taken pictures of orb weavers in the UV, and like I'm not talking like party light black lights that you get at a dollar store. This is long wave 365 nanometer light. So you can actually pick this stuff up at a little bit of a distance. And before his passing, I was actually able to have a conversation with Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and I proposed this theory about, I was at a Sasquatch conference in Spokane, and so I got to have a talk with him in between speakers, and he actually really liked my idea that Sasquatch might utilize the ultraviolet spectrum for hunting and for communication and even just getting around. And he leans over to me and he says really quietly, he's like, I have it on good authority that Sasquatch hair will fluoresce. So that was really intriguing.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. That's fantastic.
Well, I know that I've seen a baby chimpanzee in ultraviolet light, and it shows up very green, like kind of a bright green. So if it's something similar to that, that would be really interesting. Yeah. And I've said it on a couple other shows before, but like I think we as humans were able to see in this spectrum like a long time ago. And part of that
Makes
is
sense.
our heritage of when we're born, we're covered in spots and stripes that we can't see with our naked eye now. But I think back
Right.
then we could. And I think that is the origin of war paint, because as we adapted to use fire in our homes and whatnot, we probably adapted out of being able to see in these spectrums because we're getting lazy. We're not letting those neurons fire in our brain because now we're letting the fire do the seeing for us instead of seeing at night. And
Right.
as we adapted out of it, it's kind of like oral tradition, but we painted those stripes onto our bodies to try to remember the heritage of when we could see this stuff. And somewhere along
Yeah.
the lines in our history, we just lost that message and started calling it war paint and using it for battle. But I think originally it was a way of passing on the knowledge that we were once spotted and striped. And now that we've reached this
Mhm.
point in technology, we know this. This is a medical phenomenon that all humans have these spots and stripes. So it
That's
just makes a
amazing.
perfect A to B connection for me.
Yeah, it does for me as well. Yeah, no, that's incredible. I did not know about our spots and stripes. Thank you for educating me on that and the audience. That's fantastic. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I liked regarding UV was I'm sorry, not UV, infrared was as you were talking about infrared and wavelengths and all that fun stuff. There was oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on it. I think it was one of the early Mars rovers
Uh-huh.
had an adjustable infrared camera on it,
Interesting.
and they were seeing stuff they weren't supposed to, so they shut it
Uh,
down.
that doesn't surprise me.
Like they were. No, it doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, it's like they were finding writing apparently, like writing, like I don't know what it looked
Wow.
like per se because they deleted all the pictures,
I've
but
actually heard I've actually heard
writing,
that about writing on Earth even. And uh
yeah,
I've actually received this is gonna sound crazy. But I've actually received a
it's the show, man.
vision.
Go for it.
I've received a vision when I was just starting to get into this ultraviolet study stuff. Um I was getting excited about some of the animal studies like owl feathers and whatnot. And as I'm kind of meditating and doing my job at work, I'm able to just like go on autopilot. I do my job, but my mind is a million miles away. And uh, I'm sitting there and I get this vision of Egyptian tomb, and there's a big sarcophagus in the middle of the room and the hieroglyphics going all the way around the border. And from like floor to about like hip height, you see all these hieroglyphics in regular vision. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden it changes, and you can see all these other hieroglyphics from like waist height to the ceiling. And they're glowing in this crazy pattern. And I hear this voice in my head that says, "You have eyes to see, but cannot see, and ears to hear, yet you do
Hmm.
not hear." And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And so I tell my
That's
buddy
amazing.
this, and he had just listened to a podcast that talked about these supposed artifacts that they're finding in Mexico, and they glow in the UV. And he's got this big
Oh yeah.
table. Yeah, he's got this big table that shows like an Egyptian scarab on it. And there's these pseudo hieroglyphs that are not quite Egyptian, but they're kind of there. And when he
Mm.
puts the UV on it, the scarab glows blue, but all the writing glows green. And you cannot see that when you're looking at it with your naked eye because it just looks like stone. So you've got that
Oh
hidden
my
writing. And
gosh.
what's his name from American Unearthed? Um,
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember his name though.
this is Scott. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Scott? I do. I
Uh,
do. Hopefully our
I can't
audience does
remember.
too. If not, check
I,
out the show. You'll know.
yeah, a fantastic show. So I heard him
Yeah.
talking with a bunch of modern Knights Templar, and
Okay.
they were just having this discussion about their order and different things. And he just let this one little bit slip. He's like, yeah, we got hidden writings that are hidden away in the ultraviolet spectrum. I was like,
Oh,
isn't that interesting? It's like
yeah.
ancient texts that are only visible in the ultraviolet. I suspected something like that. I mean, we kind of give a little nod to this when we're doing security checks on money, where you put
Yeah.
any kind of paper money under UV, you can see hidden markings that are only visible in the UV spectrum. And
Sure.
some nationalities' money is a lot more phenomenal than others. And like the Mexican money, for instance, like there is crazy animals and stuff that are hidden in the UV that are just like so beautiful.
Okay.
It's it's
All right.
really really artistic. But we do this
Doesn't
for
Peruvian money? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go
oh,
ahead.
I'm sure everything in the world does. It's probably just a standard protocol these days where you can just like have that black light underneath the cashier counter where you can just quickly put it under and tell if it's fake or not, or
Sure.
right.
My
Like,
my my question was going to be about the Peruvian money actually has Nazca lines on it. It's kind of cool.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What is
That's it.
your take on those Peruvian mummies, the tridactyl ones?
Oh, the hmm.
Because there's
Are
different
those the
types.
ones they pulled out? This is in the Mexico. Sorry?
This is in Peru. So
Okay.
they brought the fake one forward in the Mexican congressional hearing about UFOs. And
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
that was that little one that looked like a piece of cake or something, right? And it looked so jokey. But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're finding is in this mine there was a grave robber. Like he's a known grave robber, so he was out looking for ancient tombs, and he goes into this old mine shaft and it's full of diatomaceous earth. And in the back of this mine he
Oh,
starts finding all these mummies, and that's why those bodies look so strange, is because they're not legitimate mummies where they've had the organs removed and everything in a medical process. They're they've soaked up all this diatomaceous earth and it's kind of caked onto them, and that's why they look so strange. But when you do the X-ray
okay.
studies on them, uh, these tridactyl ones that they brought forward, there's 4 to 5 foot tall ones, and they're finding that they've got a different number of vertebrae than what we have in our neck. The fingers have an extra digit in there so that it can actually bend more than what our fingers can.
Oh, they have an extra
And
knuckle? Really?
yeah, they got an extra knuckle in there. And
Okay.
there's one that's pregnant, and it has also got a tridactyl fetus. So 3 fingers, 3 toes. And
Yeah.
going back to the tech thing, I've seen a new tech development where they've kind of made these crane picker upper devices that kind of utilize the ability of an octopus tentacle, where it can grab things really softly but like with a lot of force, so they don't crush
Yeah.
anything but they got really good grip. So if you can wrap
Yeah.
around like that, you got that extra digit, you got more grip force on those little 3 fingers. So not having a thumb doesn't
Oh,
really mean that they're at a disadvantage.
God, it's incredible. I didn't know about the tridactyl stuff. I didn't
Oh,
know about that.
it's
The
phenomenal, and
That's fascinating.
you hear a lot of disinformation, and most of it points to that Mexican congressional hearing where they brought forward the fake one. And what they found is
Yeah.
some of these ones are compositions of animal parts, and they think they are old. They're not recent builds. What they're finding is they're probably an homage to the original. So they've built these things
Oh.
kind of like a worship process and put them in the tomb with the other ones. So there's type A, B, I think all the way to K. There's all these different types of these mummies, and like they've pulled out quite a few of them. And the L and or the J types are the most interesting. And they're the ones that are potentially a new species of possible hominid. And we just are in our infancy of understanding these things, but they're not like us, where the bone structure is exactly the same. Like with, I mean, as much as we can piece together the skeletons of like Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon and everything, like we don't know the exact vertebrae counts on all those human species, because some of them we only have teeth. But
That's true.
with these mummies, we have the entire body, and the organs are still inside them. So it's quite the study, and we've got the best forensics people in the world looking at them right now. So this is kind of being taken seriously on the world stage, even if they're not really admitting it, because there is still that stigma of voicing, yeah, I'm working on potential alien mummies in Peru. But
yeah.
And it's also interesting, you go to like the area around the Nazca lines, and there's petroglyphs on cliff faces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're showing these tridactyl figures interacting with humans. So the pictographs themselves from all those ancient years ago are showing the same critter. So also phenomenal.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Also very phenomenal. Yeah.
Like that might have been the true purpose of the Nazca lines.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That could have been the true purpose to
bring them
like,
in.
Yeah, man. That's incredible. That is incredible. Well, we have 3 minutes left. So, Chucky, I'm going to give the floor to you. I'm going to let you tell the audience where to find you and where you can be found and followed and all that fun stuff. That not a creepy way.
Sure. You can find me on Spotify at the Danger Zone podcast with Chucky Danger. You can find me on Instagram at Chucky_Danger, and you can join my Discord, which is the Danger Zone podcast. You'll see my logo, and I have an email that is the Danger Zone podcast at outlook.com, where if you want to be on the show, you want to tell me your paranormal, your historical, mythological, whatever. If you got a cool job and you want to talk about it, I also want to hear dangerous encounters, and I want to hear all the best about life and death encounters, like animal attacks and close calls with a car crash. Even like, I think those will be the most interesting stories that most of us never get to hear, because there's something that people don't talk about. So if you've got those stories, send them to the email and I'll get you on the show.
Yeah. And his name is Chucky Danger. He's in the Danger Zone. Is it the Danger Zone podcast? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, the Danger Zone podcast, stipulation with Chucky Danger, because there was a couple Danger Zone podcasts that they're already belly up, as far as I'm aware. But domain names.
Yeah, right. I hear you, man. Okay. So, did that go? Hold on 2 seconds. That's the opener. That's why it didn't go. There we go. I will select. Yep. Okay. Good stuff. Well, my name's Tim Sedano. This has been Paranormal Insight. I almost called it Danger Zone. My guest today has been Chucky Danger, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. You have a good one. We'll see you next week. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.